soil, and the people gathered around this table are the ones that are doing it, and in this room. Some of them sitting a little behind. Some of them, I'm surprised, are not actually at the table.
Used to release the full Epstein files in accordance with the law passed by Congress and signed by Trump. You'll remember that just before the bill was signed, Bondi gave herself one small out that she
from SD Bullion. New customers get gold or silver at spot by visiting sdbullion.com/new. Before we get to the silver news today, and believe me,
Argentina's leader Javier Milei has praised his ally Donald Trump, taking to social media saying, "Long live freedom."
Como lo hemos manifestado.
If you think I'm over-spiritualizing, you're sadly mistaken. This is not a coincidence. I'm telling you all, it seems cool, it seems...
It'll be very controversial.
What does that mean?
It means we're in charge.
We're in charge. The Trump administration,
गर्दै दायर रिटमा मिसिल फाइल झिकाउने आदेश दिल्लीबाट प्रचण्डले भने नेपालको राजनीतिक परिस्थितिबारे अनौपचारिक रूपमा यहाँ समीक्षा गर्यौं। प्रचण्डको जिकिर अन्तरिम सरकार
in New York after being transported on the USS Iwo Jima, the president conveying today as being a last-ditch operation to get Venezuela Maduro.
Wrote Governor Walz a letter just railing against what's taking place. And part of that letter says fraud, unchecked spending, and inconsistent fiscal management in St. Paul have
across the West. Officials warn we are not out of the woods yet. Flood watches remain in effect because we are getting so much rain. A few more inches today across the region.
Landscape named in the Old Testament, the shape of a ship. The book of Genesis says Noah landed here in the mountains of Ararat.
Though when he appears in court, a judge should, in fact, throw this out, simply given the fact that you have a leader that was actually kidnapped from.
See him handcuffed in these visuals that India Today is showing you, and he can be seen handcuffed, but he looks defiant in these visuals.
And very efficient, so why we can't celebrate these kinds of things. And I'm open to the good opportunities that a better future for Venezuela after this happened.
That handful of House Republicans who were defying President Trump and signing on to legislation to force the release of the so-called Jeffrey Epstein files the Department of Justice has.
Justice at the time, but the head of state immunity issue is the one that he knows he can press, that he will try to use to defend himself, that I have immunity.
We want to surround ourselves with energy. We have tremendous energy in that country. It's very important that we protect it. We need that for ourselves. We need that for the world.
Radio interview that the U.S. carried out a land strike inside Venezuela, taking out a big facility as part of his attacks. He provided no additional information. The White House.
Some Latin American countries are also making similar calls. Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum reposted the official statement of her country's Ministry of Foreign.
Arrest comes amid a period of heightened tension between Iran and the West. The Iranian president recently said his country is, quote, engaged in a full-scale war
with all of the fraudulent activity that's going on in Minnesota. Of course we should investigate this. Of course should we look into what they're scrubbing from their website. I think we've got to explore this as far as we can.
Is fake, saying the FBI determined the writing does not appear to match Jeffrey Epstein's. The letter was postmarked 3 days after Epstein's death and was sent.
No. Let me tell you something. Let me say this. I'm not a referee. So I'm gonna get off the phone right now.
He suffered yesterday. He said, I have spoken with AJ to personally express my condolences on the passing of his two close friends. Kevin
भारतीय बोर्ड की हर धर्मी बरकरार, वेन्यूज की तब्दीली से इनकार, कहा इस मरहले पर तब्दीली इंतजामी अफरा तफरी का सबब बनेगी।
ICC T20 World Cup
births in Gaza. In a statement issued last week in anticipation of Israel's announcement, MSF said, quote, if Israeli authorities revoke MSF's access to Gaza.
Now run Venezuela, what the administration is now saying tonight. The president, who campaigned on getting America out of foreign wars, now says he will not rule out American.
That's where they implement, and that is no longer around.
Victoria, I want to get your insights now as we're seeing military pressure, but also
more answers. Retired Army Colonel Steve Warren is standing by for us with military analysis. But first, let's go to NBC News senior White House correspondent Garrett Haake for the very latest.
They have been inundated by hateful and threatening messages ever since a viral video put the Twin Cities in the national spotlight. Several are also claiming there have been attempted
continuing to learn a bit more information. We do know that the officials, though, were not authorized to discuss publicly the ongoing operation militarily and spoke underneath
Israel. The last 24 hours have seen dramatic developments in Iran, with the regime appearing to be in survival mode. And the president's advisors recommend
any sort of impending next step, but just the possibility of that even being a consideration by the administration at some point.
At Mar-a-Lago, thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. And just before the assault force arrived at Maduro's compound, you can imagine.
Who is acting now as co-deputy FBI director, along with Dan Bongino. And it's for all the reasons that you just said and others.
From the Danish Prime Minister, and in an interview on Danish TV, she has been quoted as saying that she believes that anyone should take Donald Trump's threats about wanting.
This was a law enforcement operation in furtherance of lawful indictments that have existed.
Just 4 minutes after midnight. And it wasn't just fireworks last night. Zohran Mamdani is officially the new mayor of New York City. New York Attorney General Letitia.
The goal of the policy is to see changes in Venezuela that are beneficial to the United States, first and foremost, because that's who we work for, but also, we believe, beneficial for the people.
Easier to satisfy a massive civil fraud judgment. And trust me, when federal authorities start putting padlocks on Trump Tower and you've got moving trucks outside 40 Wall Street.
De Dios, meaning I am a man of God, and then said, soy prisionera de la guerra. I am a prisoner of war. And the exchange between them started to continue until
Associate Ghislaine Maxwell and most recently Sean Diddy Combs. Mr. Maduro had been taken to Guantanamo Bay in Cuba before being flown to New York. U.S. officials.
Not the solution, and Mexico, on the other hand, has condemned the military intervention in Venezuela. The strike has sparked a global outcry, with world leaders urging restraint and highlighting.
This time at Somali-run daycare centers. The new comments from that state's Democratic governor and the White House tonight. A second Patriot star now
known as the land of 10,000 lakes has been turned into the land of 10,000 Somali schemes because of their governor. And don't forget, this is a guy who is at the top.
As of now, at this hour, there are 5 people still in the hospital. 4 of them are in relatively mild condition but remain under medical supervision. And 1 woman had a very severe
to protect victims. He says the rest of the files will be released on a rolling basis over the next few weeks. Some lawmakers say that violates the law.
Donald Trump is on the ballot because in the end, when he's there, they come out and they vote in record numbers. But when he's not on the ballot, they don't participate.
Over $110 million in fraud in one day. And that's just the tip. When people say it's the tip of the iceberg, it really is, because there's billions